Please give it up for RAYROD.
I sat back and I watched it for the first time, and I'm like, oh no, Gaethje, like, what have I done? Like, and I love Gaethje. I didn't even think about it. Like, I didn't put him on the ground. Max put him on the ground.
When Adriano knocked me out in one championship, right? He even posted on Instagram, oh, I knocked him out, and I was like, that's what I look like after my wedding night with my wife.
What did you feel like when they're playing these clips of you getting knocked out? Like,
I was like, oh, there's my black ass getting knocked out again.
If you're a fighter, when you win, and especially if you win spectacularly, like, emote, feed the editing community. Like, when Izzy did the arrow thing, we went nuts.
Yeah, this one right here was hilarious.
Do you know, has Henry seen it? I've been dying to know, like, if he's...
Oh, it's 15-time world champion Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MightyCast.
Here we go. There it is. like that shit. Like, I mean, it's I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's gold. Like, here we go. The legend himself.
Oh man, you the legend. This is crazy.
No, my friend. I've been following you for a long time. Okay, I'm gonna start off at the top. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the MightyCast. And this man right here is an absolute legend. Please give it up for RAYROD. My man RAYROD. First off, thank you so much for joining us on the MightyCast. This is the first time we ever met, face to face. So thank you for taking the time for coming on the show, man.
No, man, I appreciate it. I mean, you're the legend, and I mean, I'm honored. This is crazy. Dream come true.
No, man, I think, first off, like, your work is absolutely amazing, right? Like, I want to start there. And the very first video I ever saw of yours, you might laugh at me. You might laugh. Do you remember when there was a white guy and a black guy? They were fighting underneath, I think it was New York City. And they started fighting, and then you had kind of like, it was the Bronx, and you kind of had like, it wasn't a Metal Gear Solid song yet, but eventually he started fighting the black guy, and then there was one guy who was just sitting underneath the, chilling against the concrete, just chilling, relaxing, and then he threw 2 punches at him, and then they started fighting, and then you put snake. I love that video, man.
Yeah, that was one of, what's funny? I love that video as well, and for some reason, something happened with the codec or something online, and I lost the original, and the one online got stuck in some weird loop, and I had to take it down because it wouldn't correctly finish. Like, it wouldn't loop well. It would just kind of loop halfway, so I lost it. But yeah, that was one of my favorites as well. Yeah, I think that's the first time I noticed you that you were following, or that you liked one of my videos. I was like, oh man, the GOAT himself is actually like following. That was pretty crazy.
Well, dude, I mean, you have a massive fan base in mixed martial arts and basketball, and boxing too. I mean, you've done edits from basketball, mixed martial arts, boxing, gaming, and you're starting to integrate it. But I want to go back to the very beginning. So first off, where are you from? And tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, yeah, I'm from New York. I live in New York. I'm currently live upstate New York, but I'm from the Bronx. Most of my life I'm from the Bronx, and that's pretty much where I've been settled. I've left New York a little bit. I've a little bit of Florida when I was a kid, but for the most part, I'm just a regular like New York guy. Okay,
and then what got you into drawing, right? Because a lot of people don't understand, like, how long does it probably take you to do an edit? Like, if you were to start from, you just watch a fight, you watch a basketball game or a football game, whatever it may be, how long does it take you to start an edit from start to finish to production, like where you actually post it on Instagram?
Yeah. I mean, this game is crazy. Like, in order to make an edit feel like, like a RAYROD edit, I would say, sort of clean, smooth, seamless, almost like it really happened. It can take a long time. Like, it can take I mean, I would say like from a couple of days, depending on the edit, so like a month, maybe more. I mean, like if you're doing something really crazy, it could take like 2 months. So it depends on the edit, but it can take a long time. And that's like, you know, like 14-hour days sometimes, just all day on it. Yeah, I mean, some edits could, very few of them take that long, but there are some that, man, I've been on them. It's like 2 months of like grinding every day, just trying to figure it out, the structure, how to put it together. It's a puzzle, right? Like on top of the VFX, you want it to sort of flow. You got to figure out the timing of the ref, where he's going to be at, where the feet's going to be at. You know, it can be really complicated, so it could take a long time.
Now, when did you start doing this? Like, did you always draw as a kid, or, you know, when you became an adult, did you jump into drawing? Like, when was it? When was the first time you picked up that pencil and put pencil to paper? When was that?
Oh man, immediately. Like, yeah, that, you know, it's funny. I was just thinking about this recently, and this is like a weird coincidence. When I was a kid, I was immediately drawing. Like, I was fascinated with the arts. And I used to draw, you know, just doodling everywhere, just destroying my homework, getting in trouble all the time for just drawing on it. And then one day I was staying with my grandma, and she just brought a giant box of like comic books. Just someone in the building gave her a bunch of comics, and I took them all and I started cutting them, and I just started creating like these edits on the wall, right? So I had Thanos fighting Spider-Man, and from that I sort of learned like, oh man, if you cut the right one, you can create these fascinating scenes. And I filled the entire room up, the walls, with just all these, you know, cutting up all these little, you know, the comic books and creating all these scenes on the wall. And I think from there, that really was the seed that sort of got me into this kind of stuff. I started doing it with photographs, just cutting photographs, putting them together, you know, cut myself out of albums and put myself on a lizard, writing a lizard.
You're like, yeah.
Yeah, it was, I didn't realize that was sort of setting the seed for like editing, you know? So, and then one day I started torrenting like a bunch of After Effects and files, giant files, right? I went crazy torrenting because it felt fun just to sort of stack a bunch of stuff. And, you know, and one of them, I got After Effects, I got Photoshop and a bunch of tutorials. So I was bored one day and I'm like, man, I'm hoarding all this stuff. Might as well just learn. So I started just after school, I would just start like learning to, you know, just absorbing tutorials. And that was really what got me into like this whole arts, you know, sort of not online, but sort of editing videos and photoshopping. And then I got into MySpace, and I had the craziest MySpace in the world. Like, it was just, you would get on my MySpace and your computer would just crash. Like, it would just sort of chug.
For the viewers out there who don't know MySpace was the very first infancy, like, what would you call it? Like Facebook, Instagram. It was the first platform where you can have your own profile and post your pictures. This is who I am. This is how old I am. This is where I'm from. This is what I enjoy, your passions, all that stuff. So I know a lot of you, right, you know, people out there who are, you know, listening or watching this video on YouTube. A lot of people are like, what's MySpace? I never heard of MySpace.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, MySpace. So you started with MySpace, but you never were like artistic with drawing. So this basically came from like scrapbooking. Right? Like you're basically looking at pictures and you start cutting them out, put them there, cut this one out, put them there. It wasn't, you know, from you like, hey, I draw Dragon Ball Z. Okay, well.
Oh, yeah. No, I did that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, before the scrapbooking, I used to charge, I used to hustle. So I would charge people like, they would come to me, they'd be like, hey, can you draw Wolverine? So I would draw like, you know, sort of Cyclops fighting Wolverine. They'll just take it from the comic books and I'll sort of freehand it. I started getting nice with it. It'd be like 25 cents for a little drawing, 25 cents here. And I got obsessed with like just, you know, slinging these copies. And then when the scrapbook thing came, I already had like a natural artistic, you know, sort of flow, and I could just put things together. But yeah, I was nice with, you know, with the pencil for a long time. So it just, it got much better once I got a little Wacom tablet, but gotcha. For sure, yeah, drawing came first.
Gotcha. And then did you transition? Did you you did this through high school, and then did you go to college and start taking classes in like, you know, artistic drawing, or did you just like, fuck high school, I'm going straight into just, you know, doing this full time?
Yeah, no, I never went to college. So it was like right after high school, right around high school, like I'm from the Bronx, so like it's crazy there. So my whole family got destroyed. It was like, perks and all those kind of medications destroyed my family. My mom, got addicted. It was crazy. So from there, I just immediately hit the streets, and I was kind of homeless for a while. And I would still sort of hustle art. I started spray painting. We'll go outside with little crews, and we start spray painting the subways. And I was like, oh man, I'm nice with spray painting. So scratching up the windows. And I'm like, oh man, I'm tagging shit. I'm like, I'm nice with this, but the law gets involved, and it was a little funny. So then I got out of that, and I just started, sort of doing T-shirts and moving away from like, the illegal stuff. And then I just, from there, I took it from there. Just kept everything. I would work full-time jobs, but I would always have like a little creative outlet somehow.
When me and my producer, Michael, wanted to do the MightyCast, I like to talk to people that, one, I envy. Two, I appreciate and I love their work. And one, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm fucking envious that you can draw like a motherfucker. That's one of the things that I wish I had the talent to do, and do the creativity that you can do, because the stuff that you do, the last one you did with Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje, oh my God. Like, first off, let's talk about the Sonic theme music. A lot of people out there don't understand. If you grew up in the 90s and you had a Sega Genesis, and every single time you hear, Green Hill Zone, Zone 1 and Zone 2, whatever it may be, and then I feel you hit it, and then you put Dr. Robotnik in there, then you got the coins going, and then you had Justin Gaethje doing that. Like, I was just like, dude, like the fact that you put Dr. Robotnik and the music in there, it was like, dude, your creativity is pretty much endless. And that's just your recent one, right? And like, I mean, the one you did with Anthony Joshua, I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. So where do you get the creativity? Like, what do you like? So let's say, for example, you watched that Justin Gaethje fight where Max Holloway knocked him out. What made you go down the route of Sonic the Hedgehog? Like, what was like, okay, it's gonna be Sonic the Hedgehog. Walk me through that process.
Yeah, I mean, and I hope to maybe soon, like, put this kind of process on video, just so people can see what it's like. A lot of times I don't pick, like, I don't really pick what I'm going to do. It's weird. Like, I have an idea of like, maybe I could do this with it, but it's like, it's intense sort of, I would take a footage. Like, so let's say with Max, I would clip that sort of, the whole, once he points to the ground, which was crazy. Like, he's done it before, but this was different.
Yeah.
This was legendary. So he points to the ground. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna watch this over and over and over. I'm just gonna loop it. And that's what I'll do. So then I'm like, what is the clip telling me? Like, the clip has to speak to me. I'm not gonna try to impose anything on the clip. It's gonna tell me what it wants to become. Which is why sometimes I get caught off guard when I make something and then I have time to reflect on it, because I'm like, damn, that was hard on Gaethje. Like, and I love Gaethje. I didn't even think about it. Like, he's laying down the ground, and I'm like, what have I done? Like, like.
Well, I love the fact you says you let the clip speak to you, right? And then I can see you like. You're sitting there and you're just going to work. You're drawing all this stuff. You're pasting things together, and then you take a step back and you're looking there. It's like, how the fuck did I get Dr. Robotnik and Sonic coins in this motherfucker? And then you see Justin Gaethje rolling. So I'm like, the clip told you to do that. Man, Max pointed down, told you to do that.
That's exactly what happens to me all the time. I rush to make these things, and I put it in my heart and soul. Like, pieces of me, right? Like my being is in these things. It takes a lot out of my life to sort of put this out for the culture. And so then I don't get paid for this. Like, this is, it's just hopefully, I can make more money off of this, but I get work off of this, but I don't get paid for this. And so when I'm sitting there making this, is a part of me, I'm putting it into it. And then, so I'm making it, right? So I'm looking at the clip and I'm like, all right, so the physics of it. So he gets hit. How much force did Holloway sort of put into the punch that hit him? That how far does he get knocked back? What does that tell me? I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, so Gaethje falls. He sort of curls. Okay, so then I'm seeing something here. Curl. There's a curling action, right? Again, I'm still not even thinking about Gaethje. It's not even like, which is it always gets me after. So then I'm like, he curls. I'm like, all right, cool. So then he has to curl. I want to turn him into something. So if he's going to curl, then maybe he would turn into something that spins. I could spin him. I could see like I could spin him. Okay, so then it has to be something spinny. Immediately, I'm like, this is Sonic. Okay, so if this is going to be Sonic. But first I was like, what if it's what if he like he spins and then he starts to go down sort of a track and then he hits bowling pins and then so this is like a Wii U, Wii bowling, and he hits the pins and then the music comes out and you see the little me characters and I have the ref as a me character. I'm already like brain is sort of running with it, but I'm like I would always try to run back to the classics. I'm like, I don't know, this is telling me Sonic. And I know I just did Sonic. I just did Sonic with Francis.
Yep.
I don't want to do that again. Like, and I wanted to really impress Max and give him something hardcore, something like, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, something different, something hard, right? But God damn it, the clip is telling me Sonic. I can't. That's what it's telling me. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just do this. I'm gonna make it Sonic, and then I'll move on to then I'll give him what he really wants. But then it goes, okay, so that he starts rolling, and then from there I'm like, so what if he starts rolling down the stage? So then I'm like, okay, I don't got time. I got other stuff to do. I'm just gonna keep letting it speak to me. And okay, so he's rolling down the stage. What happens next? What happens? So then like the game takes over. So then he's gonna hit something around here, and quickly. It's happening faster than I can really think about it. So then when it's done, when it finishes, I'm watching it for the first time. Like I'm sitting there going like looping and I'm like, what the fuck did I just make? What is this? What is this? Because then it starts to loop. And as it's looping, I'm like, it's different. I know I made this, but as it's looping, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing what I created. And it's like, I didn't even make it. I'm like, I don't know who made this. Like this just came out of nowhere. And it's amazing what came out, but like there's a lot of it, what came from it was not even what I sort of, a lot of the feeling, sort of what comes out of it. It's not what I intended. It's just sort of what is, what came, just what sort of, it's like, you put a lot of things, little small things together. And from that it emerges, right? Something else like us. We're a bunch of little cells, and from the little cells emerges consciousness. And that's kind of what that is, like a bunch of little tweaking and ideas. And from that emerges something bigger. And with that clip, I sat back and I watched it for the first time and I'm like, oh no, Gaethje, like, what have I done? Like, I hope I don't get, like the ethics come out, like, what is this sort of right? I mean,
I think we all know what we're getting ourselves into when we fight, right? Especially in today's age where you have, talented people like you who are out there always trying to, use creativity and give the athletes because Max Holloway is going to look back on that and he's going to love that forever. All the things you've done with me, I loved it. Adesanya, he loves it. When he shot up Alex Pereira, like when he was like, boom, 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 broke the stick. Like you did that. Like, I had him on the MightyCast and he says, dude, RAYROD's legit. Shout out to RAYROD.
You too. What I love, you emote.
Oh, yeah.
That's life, bro. People don't understand that, bro. I'm like, when I do that kind of stuff, I'm doing it for me because I like to be creative. But then all these guys like RAYROD, Snatching Snacks, they get so much to work with.
Yep.
And they just fucking pop, pop, pop.
We're always emoting. When I'm doing like, like we're like giving you guys the opportunity to basically put our creativity into basically real life, into an actual edit, right? So I think Justin Gaethje is a good sport about it, but I can see that your morals are like, fuck, man, I just had Justin Gaethje going down the goddamn Sonic slide, and I'm sure if the rules, it's Justin Gaethje, but I'm sure if the rules were reversed, if he would have put Max, down, you're like, all right, Max, well, I got to get you now too. Here we go, and Max like, hey, you know what, RAYROD's got to do it too.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts me. Like I'm not gonna. It's not like it hurts. I'm not, but it does in a way hurt me in that. So I like Gaethje. He's a cool guy, and there's something lovable about him. He's not like an asshole. So when I'm making this, I'm thinking this is what happened. I didn't put him on the ground.
Yeah,
Max put him on the ground. it's violent, right? Like, and
I love how you're
trying
to get you're trying to get your way out of this. She goes, I didn't put him there. Max did it, and the clip told me to do that. So if anybody should be in trouble, it should be Max.
Max, this is your fault. So then,
oh fuck, I love
I'm like,
that.
This is the nature of it. It's so violent. Like, this is just what it is. So but I'm like, so it's only later that I'm like, damn, I dragged him down face first, and all his little rings that he worked hard to get, just sort of spill out, and it's like, that's a metaphor, maybe, I don't know, like, and so he's like face planted, and it looks terrible, and I'm like, and then the comments start coming in, and I'm like, man, people are complaining, but I'm like, you know what, okay, if people are complaining and it hurts them, then I probably, I did my job right. Like, you feel a thing, right? Like, I just got to sort of accept that and not fight the comments and not go too hard. And like, so this is something I've always been trying to like wrestle with throughout my little career doing this. Is like, is it right? These you guys put your physical body on the line. I try to be neutral. I have my favorites, right? Like, if you get knocked out in a spectacular way, like, and I see Street Fighter, and I'm like, oh my God, that is, that's I see it. That's an uppercut, that's a Shoryuken. I'm like, that is beautiful. That has to, I'm probably going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit there with tears. Like, I'm sorry.
He's going to cry. I'm sorry, Stan. I'm sorry. I can't, I have to. Well,
I'm sorry, DJ.
Well, I always think, like, when you do that, first off, you can't make everybody happy, right? Like, you're doing it out of love of the sport, of the creativity, and the culture, right? Because that stuff lives on forever, right? Like, in 10 years from now, somebody who's going to be inspired by the work you've done of all the edits, not just in mixed martial arts, but basketball and boxing, they're like, holy hell, man, I want to know how to do that. I want to learn from RAYROD, and I want to copy his work. Right? Like, you're going to inspire people to one day pick up the flag when you decide to, walk away from it. Now, when you look at the edits, a lot of them seems like they're all over the place when it comes to like inspiration. Like say you have Sonic, you have Metal Gear Solid. I mean, you've done Dragon Ball Z. Is there a specific time frame, or like, is it Super Nintendo 64, PlayStation? What genre era do you like to always go back to? Right? Like, for me, I always love like synthwave, 90s, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, just the theme music, Streets of Rage. I mean, the list just goes on of like just dope ass music and video games. Like, is there a specific area that you're like, no, I'm going back to the 90s. I'm going back to the 90s.
Yeah. And I'm a huge like proponent of like music, of sound and what it does to you, right? Like, I envy musicians in a lot of ways, like just what they do, the feelings they evoke, because you can try to do a lot with the visual, but it just sort of, visual is flat until you add the magic, the music. So when I think of Sonic, I'm like, I'm going to hit him with that, that nostalgia. Once the track kicks in, Green Hill Zone, it's like, dun, 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 dun. Like that's the boss music. If you hear that and you come from that, you should immediately like sort of start sitting up on your chair, like, okay, let's go. It's boss
Lock
time.
in.
Like, yeah, let's go. It should sort of evoke something in you. So I want the edit to bring that out of you. And I jump at that opportunity. I'm like, I have to put in that music. So I always go for the classics, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, that era. Even I can go more current, but there's something about
it don't hit the same way. It don't. Like,
right,
even when you did the Francis Ngannou one, and he was getting rocked by Anthony Joshua, and then you put the music of Sonic wherein you're about to run out of air or water. Well, run out of air when you're in the water. It's like boop, and I was like, oh, Francis, why'd you have to get drowned? No.
Yeah. I mean, even editing, I'm like, man, it makes me anxious. Like, no matter how many times I hear it, as soon as that like that sort of countdown starts, I'm like, I got to be careful, because I also don't want to, like, one thing I always consider is that these things are meant to loop, right? It has to loop well, and sometimes you're like, oh, this sounds great. But like 2 or 3 loops down, it's not good. It starts to be too much, overwhelming. On the 3rd or 4th loop, you're like, you can't wait to scroll off it and go, move on. I try not to use that one because that one it could make you anxious and people just may not want to hear that sound over and over and over. But any opportunity where I'm like, this fits, I'm going to put it in there and try to work it in.
Gotcha. Now, here's a question for you. Now that you're, obviously your work is amazing. Is it very hard for artists in your line of work to try to get a lot of commissions? And if so, why do you think it's hard for you guys to get commissions right now? Or in general? Yeah,
well, it used to be. I'm going to say it used to be. Because right now we're living in this weird era, and I think you've noticed it with the edits online, like what's happening. There's a community of editors, and if I could just shout out guys like Triller
shout out
VFX.
Everybody, shout out all of them.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Thanks. Well, shout out to like Triller VFX, Skurda, SKRR_DA. Skurda. This guy is amazing. Like he's taken like sort of my style, things that I do, like the sort of the funny edits and the clever editing, and he's created his own lane. Like they're more quicker. They loop quicker, and it's just his own little. It's like it's hitting hard, and his numbers ridiculous. He's doing his thing. Guys like Snatch and Snacks, very similar to me. It's like a community of editors that are sort of that we all sort of inspire each other and low key compete to create these kind of things. And there's more. There's a whole little, there's a bunch of other like smaller ones that, smaller editors that are building up their own little fan base and just being inspired by what we do. And we're creating these lanes that now you can go to college or you can, get a career doing something in Hollywood if you want. But hey, you can also just sort of take a chance and do what we're doing and make a living. So before I struggled a lot. Like this is why I never post too much because I have to make a living, right? I have to eat, got to pay rent. I live in New York, and New York is like expensive. So as much these edits, like these RAYROD edits, are like killer. Like as I told you, like. Pieces of me go into it. Like sometimes I'm like, I got to make money, but also I haven't posted. So I'm going to sacrifice time, which is money. And I'm going to make, because I'm going to drag Gaethje through the canvas for this. Sorry, Gaethje, I got to eat. I'll feel bad about it, but it's in the end, it's going to put some food in my belly, money in my pocket. So I'm grateful for that, just off what could come later on. So same thing with these guys. These guys just they're not making money off of it. But lately it's different. So because of guys like Skur and Trilla and what we're doing, it's like people are now seeing that and they want to like promote, companies want to use it to sell their products and so more than ever, again, shout out to Skur because a lot of it's because of the stuff that he's doing lately. They want that. Can you do that? And it's like, that's money. I'm not taking advantage of it. I got my little full-time gig, but I know these guys are now eating. A lot of them are eating really good because of these kind of edits. So it's creating a lane for people to sort of thrive and succeed. And it's great. The only thing is that it's at the expense of a lot of these MMA fighters. And a lot of them are in Gaethje. They're not making a lot of money, especially from these other leagues. So you kind of feel like, you feel bad. And I mean, it's happened to me. Like when I back not too long ago, like I did stuff for the PFL and I've done some edits that have rubbed people the wrong way, the losers.
Yep.
Their kids got to see their dad flying through the sky, more the scorpion chain, like getting fatalitied. And the kid's gonna go to school. Like, is this your dad? And it's like, it hurts.
But I mean, like we said, it's part of the game, right? And then what I usually do is like when people are like, now that I'm down this route and I cover the sport, I'm almost like a reporter. And when I pick against even people I know, I pick against people, right? When I picked against Cody No Love to lose against Figueiredo, like I like Cody. I love the guy. He's great and amazing. But when I look at it as a standpoint, I was like, man, I think Figueiredo is on fire right now. He hits harder. And I think him going up to 135, he's going to be stronger. And if somebody came to me and goes, dude, I can't believe you picked against me. I was like, hey, dude, that's just how I felt. But guess what? You could pick against me. I hope you see I get my ass beat. It ain't going to happen. I'm going to do my best so it doesn't happen. But that's how I kind of balance it out, right? Like if somebody was like mad that I made an edit of them, I was like, well, I'm going to give you the opportunity to right it wrong. Go kick somebody's ass and I'll do it in fashion. So that's one little piece of advice I give you, my friend.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. And I honestly, like this is the main reason I wanted to come out here, just to sort of pick your brain and run this by you, because I mean, you are the GOAT to me. You are the GOAT. And so just your perspective on how you see us editors and when we touch this stuff up. And, like, for instance, like, and I want to say this, like, if you're a fighter and you're watching this, and I hope you are, like, I hope this is not boring and you.
No, I'm loving it. I love it. Like, for me, like I said, when I started this podcast, it's about what intrigues me, and your work is absolutely amazing. To hear the way how you started about cutting out and scrapbook and putting stuff on the wall and the pen to pencil to paper. And then a lot of people don't understand. I know how much work goes into doing that, right? Because I've commissioned people to do stuff for my YouTube channel, for my Twitch channel.
Stuff. Yeah.
And it's like, I think it was like for 1 second, it's like $100, right? It gets pretty expensive because you got to draw it out, and you got to piece it. If it's, 120 frames per second or how long the video is, you got to piece it together. And so for me, I think a lot of people don't know how much work goes into your edit, and how are they, for me, I was like, he must be a fan of Sonic. Oh, well, he did this on Metal Gear Solid. Oh, he did this one of Dragon Ball Z. So for me, I want to dive into your mind and what keeps you so creative. And that's why I'm enjoying this conversation, right? Because it's something I'm passionate about and I love it. And I want to see your work get spread around the world, and you can start making more money so you can keep on doing what you love to do, right? So for me, I'm loving every bit of it. The viewers, I'm not worried about the viewers. The viewers are going to love it because we're passionate about what we're talking about. And they see you have 646,000 Instagram followers, right? And they don't know your story. They don't. Right? They probably have never seen a picture of you. They don't know why you want it, why you do it, right? So this is what this platform is for. It's for you to tell, have your piece with Justin Gaethje and all the other people you got fucked up. You got them going around everywhere, right? But hey, if I ever get knocked out, you have my full permission to when Adriano knocked me out and won championship, right? And one championship, they replay it. Shit, one day he even posted on Instagram, and he goes, "Oh, I knocked him out," and I was like, fuck, that's what I look like after my wedding night with my wife." I'm having fun with it, right? Because it's part of the sport. A year later, I blew his face up, and I posted about it, and then we fought for a third time, so we move on. It's part of the game, right?
Oh man, I'm geeking out because these are things I want to know. Like, as an editor, what did you feel like when they're playing these clips of you getting knocked out? Like, what are you thinking? Like, what are you feeling? Like,
I was like, oh, there's my black ass getting knocked out again.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Because it's part of the sport, right? I know what I'm signing myself up for. Right. Yeah, and then if somebody would have made an edit of me getting knocked out, I'll be like, damn, that's a sick edit. It's like I said, it's part of the game, and I'm a good sport. You can't go through mixed martial arts or boxing thinking you're never going to get your ass kicked, because one day it might happen, unless you're Habib, right? He's the only person who got out who never, but he also stopped fighting a lot sooner than a lot of people, right? Like, I'm 37. Right. I don't know when he retired. I think he was probably like maybe 32, 33. Granted, he had other things going on in his personal life. But, even the Conor McGregor, I've seen you do Conor McGregor edit with Eddie Alvarez. That's an amazing one where he comes back and hits. So for me, I don't take it personal. I see it's you being creative. If you can make a couple $1,000s off me getting my face blasted, I'm so happy for you. So for me, I'm not going to speak for the rest of the world or the rest of the fighters. But for me, you got 2 thumbs up, my friend. Go ahead and go to town when I get my ass beat.
Well, I mean, I just hope that never happens. Like, I'm a fanboy. Like, I'll say that now. But this is one thing I will say. And if you're a fighter and you're watching this, first off, if you're a fighter, if you're somebody like, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're at the top of the game. I hope every UFC fighter is watching this, by the way, because I just want to say, and Izzy said this, when you win, and especially if you win spectacularly, like emote, like feed us, feed the editing community, like give us what we want. When Izzy did the arrow thing, like you don't understand, like we went nuts, and I knew that we were gonna go crazy on it. Like me, guys, like Snatch and Snacks, VFX, Triller VFX. I was like, okay, my edit, I took a couple of days to make what I made, and I still regret it because I'm like, I really wanted to give that the love it deserved, but I couldn't. So a couple of days I put that together, and I had all, him sort of bowing to the great Olaf Sensei.
Yep.
And it was cool. But it reminded me, like, man, if these guys would understand that, editors, we're out here, and yeah, you got to pay us to work. But at the same time, if we're inspired, you don't got to pay us. Like, we, especially in this digital age, and you see what's happening, like it's becoming so digitized, and there's all content, especially for your podcast, for the YouTubes, for everything, for streaming, for the whole content world. Like, you need us. We are now a part of the MMA community, of the sports community in general. And you have to be mindful of the editors, and you have to sort of get us on your side. And so when you win, like practice it, and emote, because the right emote, you're going to get like thousands and thousands of dollars of free editing promo. Like, I mean, especially for me, like I'll jump if I'm inspired. And I mean, your emotes are some of the greatest ever. Like there's like athletic, just what you do, and just the spinning, your imagination goes nuts. So I just wish that every fighter would sort of consider that, and some do, but I just want a fighter to just get up there and be like, I just want a RAYROD edit, like I did this for you, RAYROD. That would get me in the booth. Like I would immediately just drop what I'm doing, and I'm editing for free. Like let's go. Like I'll do it for you. So if you're a fighter, really consider that practice beforehand, and when you get out there, and if you win, emote. And if you lose, I don't know, still try to emote. You never know. Like it's just
well, I think this, like you said it perfectly, right? Like I remember you did an emote with Michael Venom Page when he got the Thanos gauntlet, and they came to him and he did something, right? And with you guys, all the content, all of the editors getting behind, you guys are helping us build our brand, believe it or not, right? Because like you said,
oh, that's cool.
Granted, it's on pay-per-view, right? So you maybe might get 200,000, 300,000 buys. And then if it knocks out in spectacular fashion, then it lives on the internet, it lives on Instagram, it goes on YouTube, it goes on TikTok, it goes everywhere, and it goes viral. Next thing you know, people are like, oh man, that's a dope edit. Oh, that's RAYROD. Oh, that's Max Holloway. That's Justin Gaethje. Oh, that's sick. Or that's Izzy. So my next question is, do you guys ever collab together? Like, hey, because I know all you guys are watching the fights, probably not together, but is there ever a time where you're like, hey guys, let's collab on this one, where it's like, hey, let me get the first 20 seconds and then I'm going to flip it to you. Then you do another 20 seconds, I'm going to flip it to you. Or do you guys all like compete with each other, like a gentleman's agreement to compete against each other?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, we are a community, and we will acknowledge. So you see, like when we post, you'll see we all jump in each other's comments if we could. I mean, if I see, Triller post something, I'm gonna, regardless of what he posts, I'm gonna go in there, show love. I'm gonna, analyze it, give him a dope comment, try to push it if I can, my story. I'm gonna support him. If we're friends, we're gonna do that. But for the most part, it's like, it's just, and this is like, it's a little underground community. So when something happens, like, it is competitive. So although we are friends and there's a community, like, we just sort of, it gets quiet. There's no more chatter in the DMs.
It was like,
no one's really, it's like all of a sudden DMs are quiet, and you won't hear from it. The editors are just like, because we want it, because it's funny. Like if we're friends, I mean, and we see something, we're going to, and we jump on it. You don't want to be like, hey, can I jump on this? And are you doing this? And no, don't do that. Cause I'm not going to do this. Cause you're doing, it's like, we're just going to go out there and go ham, go hard. May the best man win. No hard feelings. There's little rules, I think, like there are rules. I mean, at least for me, and I'm going to say this, like, when it comes to editing, like, I just feel like you can, the number one, like, sort of rule, the no would be don't copy, right? Like, don't sort of rip someone's idea completely, right? If you can be inspired by it and do something similar and sort of riff on it and maybe expand on it. but we just don't like sort of straight up ripping. And even then, it's like it's a little loose. But as more editors come in the game, that will start to happen. Like people will just sort of be inspired by you and kind of do the same thing. It's not a big deal, but I just wish editors would be more fluid and more creative, and just, if you want to do something, but you saw that someone else did it, just, sort of be courteous and like, okay, well, let me not do that. Let me try something else, because you want to push, this genre. You want to push this sort of the creative editing field forward. Let me do something else. So it doesn't feel redundant. And lately I've seen a lot of that when it comes to like these edits. Like Skur's been inspiring a ton of people. And when Skur posts a fighter and, sort of he gets hit and now he gets on a bike and he's driving,
yeah.
And then you see like 50 of those. It's like, like, come on, guys, you could have like, did something else. But I mean, maybe that's the number one rule. But then again, it's like we're a community, but it's so competitive. It's just like the MMA world. It's just like Street Fighter, all these fighters from around the world. And when something happens, it's like, it's war. We're just going to go in there. And from that, from that competition, you get RAYRODs, you get the Snatch and Snacks. You get these, amazing sort of fighters, talented MMA editors that will rise to the top, and it's because of that fire, that competition.
Gotcha. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's RAYROD 747, right?
Right.
Where does that name come from? Where does 747 come from?
Well, where it really comes from was when I got on Instagram, I couldn't get RAYROD. Somebody had
that's like a never.
Yeah. So I was like, I need a number. So 747 came from a number. When I was young, I would always be like, man, everywhere I look, I see 747, 747. And I just thought it was something like really unique about that. And it was like a calling. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I know it's something. Well, I sort of manifested that. Yeah, it's become something. And so for me, it just, when I see 747, it just reminds me where I came from, my background, the stitching of the comics, creating scenes from nothing. From something, I just made something else. Like if you see one of my edits, I want you to feel like, I know it didn't happen, but like, goddamn, that looks like it really happened. Like, did Usman really fall to the floor? Like the ref is like stepping over the hole. What the? This is crazy. Like this is a whole different. Because I don't want to like, I know there's copyright issue. This legally, you want to turn it into something that's yours, unique. You don't want to like just be putting up fights with like a little you don't want to edit something small and then just throw up a whole clip. That's not yours. That belongs to the UFC. But if you really flip that and it becomes something different, then that's how you should be approaching these edits. And so, from something change into something completely different, just, try to transform it. And if you can transform the hell out of something, then that's where the magic is really at. And, and I enjoy the sort of the underground status. Like people, if you know, like if you know a RAYROD edit, even though it's not mainstream, I want it to be its own thing. And I want people to talk about it sort of like, hey, in the underground.
Yep, an underground. Like when you said you do it for the culture, I never forget. Like I was hanging out with someone else. I mean, you see that RAYROD edit? And he goes, "Oh my god, dog! Our shit was fire." And it's like, if you know,
awesome.
You know what I mean? It's like if it's like, man, you see the last chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, and it's like, you fucking know, right? It's like only the culture people in that who's immersed in that culture knows what it is, right?
Lately, it's been pretty good. I had the Buckley one where Buckley shatters.
Yep. The spinning back kick.
And I had him shatter to pieces. It was a cool little edit. And on YouTube, it had like over 20 million views.
It's amazing.
And that was actually, it was bringing in some money. And then it got stricken by some organization. It wasn't the UFC. And now I have it up, but it's not making money, which, whatever. But it's just frustrating. So.
Yeah, it is, because it's like granted, it happened, right? And you took it and you transformed it. 20 million views off your hard work. So that's 20 million views. That's going to help feed you, put money in your pocket. 20 million views on those two athletes building their brand. Granted, Homeboy, turned into icicles. And there's 20 million views, extra views on the organization itself. So for me, I don't see why it can't be a win-win for everybody, right? Like that's the thing that always drives me insane. Like if I was to get pissed off of every single person who listens to the MightyCast and goes out on Twitter and takes a snippet of the MightyCast. And on Twitter, it would be like 5.5 million views. And I'm like, and then I look at the MightyCast, only has 100,000 views. If I got pissed off every single time and I copyright strike everybody, I'm like, dude, no, you guys, thank you guys for taking 1 minute snippets of the MightyCast and posting it to all your fans, because guess what? Hopefully the fans like that snippet and they're like, oh man, that's a really good snippet. I wonder what the rest of the MightyCast is like. Where do I watch it? Where can I watch it on Spotify? Can I listen to it on Spotify? Can I watch it on YouTube? For me, it's like, it's a win-win. Now, if somebody wants to take the whole entire MightyCast and fucking upload it as their own thing, then I'm going to have a problem. But a minute, 2 minutes here, and they're just putting it out to all their viewers and their fans, I'm a fan. So I think what you're doing, everybody should be thanking God that you're doing it, one, for fucking free. Two, you're just helping building everybody else's brand while building your brand at the same time. So I understand it, but it also drives me absolutely insane. It's like, guys, like, the guy is doing it out of his own free will. Be grateful, and let's kick him a bone. Like, I got that from Conor McGregor when he was signing autographs in like New York City in the cold. And then he was just signing. He goes, hey, you know what? Like, I appreciate these guys staying here. Like, I hope they make $20, $40. I don't care how much money they make, but hey, good luck to you, sir. If you can make $40 off of me signing this, good luck, right? Because I made millions off you guys tuning into my fight. And so for me, that's kind of how I view, that's like, awesome. when you do the edits, it's like, dude, Go ham. I support it. I'm going to like it. I'm going to leave a comment because I love the shit. And I hope you make millions and millions of dollars off the edits of us getting our asses beat.
But I appreciate you saying that. That's why I say, you're the GOAT in every field, man. Like, everything you touch, just to me, I'm like, man, you're inspiring me so much. Just, you get the culture, you get all the cultures, like, and you vibe with it. You vibe with everything you do. Is, I'm even honored to be here again. I'm so honored to be on here. And by the way, like, shout out to Dana. Like, so I don't think Dana follows me, but hopefully one day. But
Dana White, he probably won't listen to this motherfucker. Follow my man RAYROD.
Yeah, Dana, if you're listening. I mean, because, Dana is the one that, you got to worry about Dana. If you using the UFC stuff, you don't want him to see this and be like, what the fuck is this? And then, like, get this, feel this, you disrespecting my fighters, and this is my footage. I put this together. Like, you don't know what he's thinking. So, but I know Dana recently saw the Mario Kart one, and he loved it, and he posted it on his story. And that just tells me, like, I'm headed in the right direction. We're headed in the right direction, the community. As long as, like, God damn again, it. Like, even if I edit you and you're the loser, I at least want you to be like, God damn, but this was so creative. Like, I should be, it's kind of great that I'm in it. Even though I lost, this was a crazy piece of art. And so Dana saw it and he loved it. He put it up there, like, to promote Power Slap in his story. And so it makes me feel like Dana's down with it. Like, as long as it's creative and it's artful and it's cool, Dana will fuck with it. And that makes me feel more like at ease going forward that, I'm on the right path and I can keep doing this if Dana's down with it.
Yeah, and I think it's not just Dana, but I think Chatri will love edits. I think, Don exactly. Davis will love edits, And I think the biggest thing is that they got to understand is that it's what brings out the passion in you, right? Like, I can envision you sitting there watching fights, and then sometimes you might watch a whole entire UFC card, you're like, nah, or one championship card or a PFL card, you're like, nah, that was mediocre. Nothing's calling me, right? Or you can sit down and watch a fight card. You're like, holy fucking shit! I gotta. And your girl's like, baby, there's 2 more fights. Fuck them fights. I gotta go. Start edit. I gotta get in the lab and go ham, right? So exactly. It's your passion. It's what's calling you. It's like, no, that was amazing. I want to do an edit. I have to do an edit because I have that itch, right? And I think people who see the creativity that you do, they have more respect for it because you're not just going to do it every single weekend. You're doing an edit every single weekend. It's the true edits, the one edits that you do. We know that touched you in a certain way where you're like, oh my God, like, this is why I love this sport, because you guys gave me the opportunity to be creative and do it.
Yeah, it's like you guys are living sort of superheroes. I mean, the stuff you do, it's like out of this world. So I'm like, I just want to enhance it. It's already amazing, but I want I want you to glow. I want the electricity to sort of be flowing. I want that power to be overlaid, because you guys are, real life superheroes. And I watch footage and I can't, like, I'm dying to just sort of add the Super Saiyan powers and, just sort of give it that touch, because it deserves it. It's sort of out of this world, which is why, like, I hope fighters can see that and understand that we're not against you. Most of us, because there are some editors that are a little
fuck this guy. Help me. I hate this guy.
Yeah. I mean, some editors are a little funny, like they'll put they'll edit a fighter going into a grave or something. And it's like, I don't know. Well, it's a little dark, but, just certain things may hurt us in a way. Like, you don't want fighters to be sort of disrespected, show them love, show them all the respect in the world. Like, you guys deserve. We're not getting punched. Like, we're just editing. But we are, if you're a high level editor, we are putting pieces of our lives. When I see an edit, I can tell you when I did it, what I was going through. It's actually me. My physical being was put into that. So I want fighters to sort of understand that, I respect you, and I'm just, I'm just honoring what you've done. Even if you're the loser, like, I'm still honoring you. Like with Gaethje, you're watching this. I'm so, I love you, and it was all in love, and I can't wait to do one where, you're the winner, which you have plenty of those. And I hope to do that. I hope to do more of that sort of, if you're the loser and I do something like what I did to Gaethje, I want to, like, have the time to then, big you up and make you something amazing, sort of balance,
Yeah, absolutely. And I love when you said that, like, when you do the edit, it's probably a piece of you or what you're going through in life. And when you said that, it brought me back to the very first edit I saw of you, of homeboy walking through the fucking Bronx, fighting everybody. And that could be you, like, man, I'm fucking tired of it. The first guy's fucking, Percocet. And then the motherfucker who sit on the fucking corner like a drug dealer, because you said you saw those motherfuckers, he jumps on him. And the next they jump the white guy. You're like, fuck, it's too much. Snake.
Man, I love that edit. By the way, that was like my actual block in the Bronx.
That's what I felt like when you said that. I was like, you know what? That's probably what inspired him to do that edit, because it's just a guy who's kind of minding his business. Then he starts fighting he starts fighting one crackhead, and next thing you know, he sees a drug dealer. He starts fighting that drug dealer. So it's probably something you were going through at that time, because I feel like that was like early in your career when you made your first edit. It rolls. That I love it, man. Ray, thank you so much for your time. This is your opportunity to let people know where they can find you, how they can support you and the community, because what you guys are doing is absolutely amazing. This is your opportunity. The platform is yours. Where can people help you out and support you?
Well, I appreciate this. This has been an honor. I think you're the first person to really put this community up there, like, someone from the community up there to talk about us. I don't think it's ever been done.
Shame on everybody else. Shame. Like, even your work gets talked about on Joe Rogan. Even your work does, right? And I think a lot of people, when maybe it's why it has been, but for me, I respect and I love what you guys do. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I threw homeboy at the Worlds in Jiu-Jitsu, I'm like, I want a RAYROD gonna think about this. Whatever he can do.
Man, that's awesome.
You know what I mean? So I think what you guys do is amazing, and it's just an extension of our passions. The people who emote, we love it. So if I can give you guys this platform and bring more eyeballs to what you guys do, then I think I've done my job to help the culture and the community.
Man, yeah, DJ, you're the GOAT, and you're forever, like, I'm always going to remember this. You're a GOAT for what you've done. And if people want to support us, I would say, just follow us, Triller VFX, Snatch and Snacks, Skr_DA. These guys are changing the game. Show us love. When we drop something, if you could turn notifications on, that helps. That'll help propel our edits, put us on Explorer. Check to see if we have a YouTube. Just sort of look for the other stuff, the platforms we on. TikTok, although TikTok is a little funny when it comes to edits, they're sort of cutting down on edits. But try to support us on other platforms. The likes and follows are really what helps. It'll just get us noticed, and we can get more commission, more work, and then we can edit for free if we're making money on the side from these commissions. And that's really it. Just sort of, just look for me on my Instagram, RAYROD747, and, just show me love. And that's all I can really ask for right now. And hopefully, we can keep doing this for you guys. And if you're a fighter, please emote. Practice before the fight. Practice, do like Izzy did, and find something really cool and emote. Guys like Merab, like he understands. Like, Merab's
Jesus,
super cool.
That one you did would hit. So, producer Michael, come on here. Come on, Michael. Yeah, this one right here was hilarious. Yep. Look at that. Oh, fuck. Oh my God. I mean, see that shit right there. I mean, you hit Lord of the Rings. You hit fucking, I mean, I can't remember what that game is where it's underneath the ground and that spider was, that's a game. I think it's Ori, something like that.
Yeah. I play it all the time. Why am I blanking now? I'm tired. I'm usually up at night.
No worries. You pretty much hit every single thing on there. You have to walk in the park, to walk on the beach, and that right there was probably Michael's favorite edit that you've ever done.
I appreciate that, man.
He was just like, "Where the fuck does this guy get this creativity?" I was like, "Dog, we got him on the MightyCast, man. He's brilliant. The stuff that he does is absolute brilliant." So.
Man, I appreciate it. But do you know, has Henry seen it? I've been dying to know, like, if he's...
Pound for pound. The latest and greatest news of combat sports.
Or whatever else we want to talk about. Like how Henry was carried out of the burning building by Merab at UFC 298.
That's why I always tell people, like, people think Henry, like, when McGregor shits on him and all this stuff, like, he's so offended. He loves that shit. Like, he's the king of cringe. He's gonna love when, even if it's him getting taken down, he's a good sport about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I mean, again, it's like he's the loser. He's on the losing end. But I was like, I hope you can at least look at it and be like, understand that it's done in love. Like I love Henry, and this is why I did it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't, have so much love. Again, what a time to be alive that I have these tools to be able to like enhance you guys and push the medium. So I'm excited about the future. I'm excited. Thank you for having me here. This is like, I'm gonna bookmark this. This is a great moment, and I really appreciate the love, man.
Absolutely, RAYROD. I appreciate you, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this episode of the MightyCast, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live. And please go give my man RAYROD a follow on Instagram. Check all the community out who's doing all the edits and making, the sport of mixed martial arts. Not just mixed martial arts, but boxing, basketball. Hopefully he gets some jiu-jitsu edits in there soon. And yeah, man, we appreciate you, RAYROD. We appreciate you, baby. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson, and that's my co-host, Michael Montover. We are out. Cheer! Well, damn. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Mighty Recap, and it's basically where we just recap everything we talked to with our guests. And our recent guest, our last guest, was RAYROD 747. And ladies and gentlemen, let me start off first. If you guys have not seen any of his work, do yourself a favor, go to his Instagram, look him up, RAYROD 747, and you're gonna be absolutely blown away. The reason I wanted to talk to him is that I'm a huge fan of his work for so many years before I even started doing any of the content creation. But I never forget when I saw that one of the Bronx fight where this guy's fighting two guys and he has the Metal Gear Solid music going on. And then his most recent one is the Max Holloway where knocked out Justin Gaethje. And then another big one that went viral was Adesanya beating Alex Pereira finally and shooting him with 4 arrows, breaking it, and then bowing in front of Olaf. So his creativity and to be able to talk to him about his mindset and what gets him going and how he navigates making these edits was almost breathtaking, because I feel like he has a plan what he's doing. Because when you see the edits, it's like you think he's like, oh, Max knocked out Justin Gaethje. We're gonna do Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm gonna have him spin and hit all these things, and run at the end and go into the circle, and then I'm gonna have the thing spin like Sonic, and there's gonna be Max Holloway on there. It's not the case. He said that he just basically sits there and lets the clip talk to him over and over and over. And the amount of time it goes into making an edit, 2 weeks, and that's 2 weeks of a full-time day, like 17 hours, like just absolutely amazing, and a cool ass cat too.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that it's almost become like a second part of any big moment. Like if you look at some of the biggest knockouts in recent UFC history, it doesn't feel like that moment is complete until it gets that RAYROD treatment. Like
exactly right.
the Buckley one's amazing. That was one of the first ones I can remember really seeing him, and that was an incredible one. And then of course this Max Holloway one, and then also with the Henry Cejudo Merab one. So no, I feel like it always makes those moments feel even bigger. So like he deserves to be paid by UFC. Like this would be a genius ploy if UFC was paying him like under the table, and he was kind of just lying to us just now, because he'd be worth every penny if they were just be like, okay, make these moments feel even bigger, because they go viral every time.
Oh yeah, and people can always go back and watch them. Like they're timeless, they're vogue. I mean, the creativity that goes into it is always going to be there. And I agree with you. Like it's just an extra extension of promoting the brand, not even just the brand, but the athlete itself. Don't get me wrong, there is a winner and there's a loser to the fight, but I think it just goes so far when somebody gets the opportunity to touch it. And it's kind of cool that how they have to hear that they have a community amongst all of the other editors, where it's like they all have like a silent code when a big moment happens. And then once, they start pushing out their content that they created of that moment, they all support each other. Right? Where that's very rare. You don't really see that in the mixed martial arts community. You always see all of us after each other. Like, oh, I can't believe he did this. Oh, I hate him, or belittle each other. Where in that community where it's highly competitive and they're not even getting paid or making those edits, they still support each other. Right? And that's something that I love to hear when he was talking about that during the podcast.
No, and that's something important with our channels, always giving a spotlight to those guys kind of behind the camera, the producers, the editors, all those guys. So I think it's cool to give him his moment. And when you brought him up, like I had no idea what he looked like. Like I'd never seen him talk before. Like, it's
that's the first time I ever saw. I've seen him. First time I ever talked to him. I just reached out to him. I was like, dude, like I'd love to have you on the MightyCast, right? It's like that's a thing. Like we always talk and we always vibe out every single day. And it's like, man, who do we want to have on the MightyCast next? Who do we want to talk to? And I thought he was a perfect guest because it's very it's very clear that we're both fans of his work, right?
Oh yeah, of course. And even when you talk to Israel Adesanya, he brought him up too. So that
he brought him, and then Joe Rogan brings him up, but nobody's ever given him the opportunity to, hear his creative mind, to hear where he comes from and hear what inspires him. Like for me, that's what I love about doing the MightyCast, is just being able to talk to these people. Like every single person we've ever talked to so far in the MightyCast, it's always been a great conversation, and we get to know people and we get to, see how their brain thinks. And that's what I think makes this platform so powerful.
I thought you were gonna sign off.
You can't vibe off that? No, you can't vibe about that, huh?
I think he's something I want to say. Oh yeah, so I do actually want to say this. So if you had to choose, what would you say is your favorite RAYROD edit?
Oh my God. Oh man. See, for me, like I've been following for so long. And I mean, he's got a RAYROD edit where Kanye West is on the fucking plane doing this. Like Kanye West is listening to music, and he had like a Ryu come behind him, throw a fireball. Then you had Akuma do the, Raging Demon. I mean, he has edits the boxing edit where Andy Ruiz knocked out Anthony Joshua, and then he sent him home on a backpack as a ghost. I mean, his edits, like I have never seen one of RAYROD's edits, and I'm like, I've never seen one of his edits and not be pleased. Like every single one of his edits are my favorite. Like honestly, the best one is a fucking Metal Gear Solid one. I fucking love that one. Like I'll reach out to him to see if we can get it so we can post it. But that's probably my favorite edit because it's totally random. And just when you play Metal Gear Solid, when you fucking die, it's Naomi, snake, and it goes to the next. Like it hits my gamer side of me. So it probably have to be that one because we talked about it, and to know that edit is where he grew up in the Bronx. Like that edit is probably my favorite, and now it's more personal to me because that's the first time I ever discovered him. So I have to go with that edit.
Yeah, so give him a follow on Instagram. I'm sure anyone who subscribes to the Demetrious Johnson YouTube already does follow him on Instagram. But if you don't, RAYROD747 on Instagram. Whenever he posts something, it goes viral. So I'm excited to see what maybe we'll see if he has a Demetrious Johnson one cooked up in the near future.
Here we cooking. Okay, well, boys, if you guys enjoyed this episode of the MightyCast, aka the Mighty Recap, please leave a comment and let us know in the comments below what you guys thought was the best part of this episode of the MightyCast. As always, I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson. That's my co-host, Michael Wantover, and we will see you guys at the next one. Cheer! Well, damn.